Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest questions in tech right now. How in the world do we build AI that we can actually trust? And here's the thing, it's not some kind of magic. There's actually a blueprint for it. Okay, so let's be real. AI is completely reshaping our world. It's in our phones, it's in our hospitals, it's everywhere. But with all that power comes a huge responsibility. Which leads us to the big question, right? How do we make sure these systems are safe, fair, and reliable? Because if we don't, people just aren't going to trust it, and that's a massive problem. So how do we do it? Well, the answer is a pretty clear and actionable blueprint, and it's built on three really solid pillars: security, compliance, and governance. Let's break down exactly what each of those means.
First up, pillar number one, security. The best way to think about this is to imagine your AI system is a fortress. Inside that fortress, you've got all your valuable stuff, your data, your models, and you've got to have some serious defenses to protect it all from attackers. Now, with AI, we're not just talking about your standard issue hacking. We're facing a whole new kind of threat, and it's called an adversarial attack. Basically, this is when someone feeds the AI a sneaky, malicious piece of information specifically designed to trick it, to fool it into making a big mistake. And check this out. It's a perfect and kind of scary example. An attacker can add a layer of digital noise to a picture of a stop sign. Now, to you and me, it looks exactly the same. We can't see the change. But to a self-driving car's AI, that stop sign might suddenly look like a yield sign. Yeah, you can imagine how disastrous that could be. But the good news is, we can absolutely fight back. The key is a multi-layered defense. First, we use something called adversarial training. That's where we actually train the models on these tricky examples to make them smarter. We also validate all the inputs to filter out anything that looks fishy. We are constantly testing the system against new attack methods, and we use special defensive algorithms built to resist this kind of manipulation. And of course, securing the fortress means protecting what's inside, the data itself. And this really just boils down to the fundamentals. Encrypting data, whether it's just sitting there or being sent somewhere, having super strict access controls so only the right people can get to it, and anonymizing personal info to protect everyone's privacy. All right, on to our second pillar, compliance. If security is the fortress wall, think of compliance as the official rulebook for everything that happens inside. It's what makes sure your AI is operating legally and, just as importantly, ethically. And, this landscape can get pretty complex. For example, over in Europe, you've got GDPR, which gives people really strong rights over their own data. Then you hop over to the US healthcare system, and you've got HIPAA, which has its own strict rules for protecting patient info. Any AI has to know the specific rules for its playing field. And let me tell you, these rules have some serious teeth. Under GDPR, for instance, a company gets just 72 hours to report a data breach after they find out about it. Think about that. 72 hours. That's just 3 days to figure out what happened and report it. The pressure is absolutely immense. So here's the bottom line. Compliance isn't just some abstract idea. For an AI that's, say, predicting diseases, this means every single patient record has to be locked down tight with encryption. That model has to follow HIPAA to the letter, no exceptions, to make sure no personal info ever gets exposed. And that brings us to our third and final pillar, governance. So if security is the fortress and compliance is the rulebook, governance is having a skilled pilot in the command center. It's about actively steering your AI, not just launching it into the wild and hoping for the best. And that's because AI is definitely not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of technology. It has this continuous life cycle. You develop it, you deploy it, but then the real work starts. You have to monitor it constantly, watch its performance, and update it regularly as the world changes. One of the biggest risks you're monitoring for is something called model drift. Think of it this way. The real world is always changing, right? Well, if an AI was trained on yesterday's data, it might not work so well on today's reality. For example, a fraud detection model trained on last year's scams might totally miss a brand new type of scam that just popped up. Its performance just drifts. And this is exactly why AI governance is so different from traditional IT governance. With traditional IT, you're mostly worried about keeping the servers on and the system secure. But with AI, oh man, it's a whole new ballgame. You have to manage this dynamic, evolving system, and you're worried about things like algorithmic fairness, bias, and that model drift we just talked about. So there you have it, the blueprint: security, compliance, and governance. Now let's just pull this all together and talk about why this whole blueprint matters so much. So let's do a super quick recap. The blueprint is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You need security to build that fortress around your data. You need compliance to follow the rules of the road. And you need governance to stay in the pilot seat and manage the AI through its entire life cycle.
When it comes right down to it, it's all about this one thing: trust. You can't just expect people to trust AI. It's not a given. It has to be earned. It has to be built piece by piece. And an AI system that is secure, compliant, and well-governed, that's the only kind of AI we can really, truly rely on.
So look, the blueprint is right here in front of us. We know what we need to do to build AI systems that are safe, ethical, and reliable. The real question isn't, how do we do it anymore? The question is, are we ready to roll up our sleeves and actually build it? Thanks for watching.